Welcome everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Studio, and today I have a tutorial for you, a mixed media tag assembly type of thing. But before I start on that, I just want to point it out that I'm starting a new journal, and this one has the theme of a French flower market. And I have made some digitals that I'll be offering in my shop pretty soon that I am using in this journal. But of course the main feature here is going to be flowers. So I'm looking forward to this. And I will be developing some ephemera for the journal, and I will offer one of those as a freebie in the next few weeks. So be on the lookout for that. So today what I want to do, I got some inspiration from the Somerset Studio, as I often do, and this one here is by Amy Wilcott, and it's featured on the cover, and it's these really beautiful tags. Now of course I'm not going to be able to replicate this exactly because we are all different artists, but I did get a lot of inspiration from her tags. And so I would like to show you how I made a few of them and maybe give you some inspiration on something you can do as well. So let's get started. I'm going to prepare my bases, and I'm going to use Distress Oxide Spray Vintage Photo. Put a little water inside that bowl and put in some of that spray, and just going to brush it on the surface. Now for the base, I'm using watercolor paper. I really like the way this performs with mixed media more than I do cardstock. And then I'm going to add even more spray here to that little bit of water and just drag the edges all around on the card. And by making the card, the water paper wet and then adding more oxide spray, it just helps it to spread a little bit better rather than just doing this dipping on a dry card. You get a more blending results. I gathered my supplies I thought I would be using: my dried flowers, paper, some gold seals that I previously made, my tags. At the end of the video I am going to show you how I made the gold seals in case you want to know. So I'm going to put down the first layer here on the tag, and it is I chose this color because I thought it would help those little orange dried flowers pop out a little bit. Wasn't too busy, wasn't too overpowering. And then I have this paper that looks like burlap, which is kind of cool. I'm at the end of that paper, unfortunately. But I'm going to distress the edges, and I'm folding them under and inking them even more than I initially inked them. And I would have done this no matter what I was using, even if I used a printed scrapbook paper or whatever. I just thought that by roughing up these edges a little bit, it kind of gave it some dimension. And I even went in and I glued down some of those little folds because they kept popping up a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some distressing in this journal that I'm making, so I thought this would be a good option to do. I will say that the tags, I did have them dry and then I put them in heavy books overnight so they lay flat. Because like all things, they will buckle a little bit when you get them wet. And then after that, I'm going to put down the dried flowers. Now they're quite delicate. The bigger pieces aren't so bad, but the little smaller pieces requires tweezers. And I'm going to put a pretty generous amount of glue on the back of them. Sometimes these dried flowers are hard to make them stay glued. So I put quite a bit on it. And then I love this new tool I have, and this is a silicone brush. And when I used to use my fingers, I would sometimes lift up the thing I was trying to glue down as I pressed on it. But this is just great. I don't get my hands sticky, and I don't lift up the project I'm gluing. Now I'm not really worried too much about the overflow of glue here because glitter glue does dry clear, but I did go back in with a dry napkin and I just soaked up a little bit of the excess here and there. And then I let that dry a second or two and came back, and now I'm going to put the seal down. So in Amy's project, she had a little something behind the seal, which is kind of fun. I thought it drew attention to the seal quite nicely and made it stand out. And I ended up with this little piece of sari silk. Just going to tack it down with a little bit of fabric tack. Now to glue down the wax seals, I'm using E6000 because, you know, wax seals are not that easy to glue down actually. They're easy to pop off. So I think the E6000 is going to work, and it did work actually in the end. And then after I did this, I put this under a heavy book as well to dry for a while. Now for the second tag, I'm not going to do any layering with any scrapbook paper. I'm just going to use the stamp that I have here. I got it, I don't even remember where I got this stamp. I like it though, it's a nice stamp. Just going to do that on the base of it. And I'm going to simply put the flowers over it. But instead of using the dried flowers, I got these Tim Holt die cuts, and I thought, well, this is a different look. It's not as authentic looking, I guess, as dried flowers are, but I do like how it turned out anyways. Using my favorite new tool again. Yeah, I really do like that. But it kind of is fun. It is a little bit more of a whimsical look, which is fine. And this time I'm going to use lace as a background and glue that down. And again, I'm going to use that E6000, and I buy the small little tubes because I used to buy the big tube and it would always just dry up on me. But these little tubes then, yeah, they just are always ready to go, and it's worth the extra cost because I think I actually use up all the glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in a hole, and I'm going to use hole reinforcers that you can just get at the dollar store and go over them with distress ink, and put in my sari silk. Tack it down a little bit with some glue, and voila, we have our second tag. So here they are, and here's one that I made off camera. In a minute I'll show it to you. Oh, I guess we're going to look at these. I think these turned out really quite nice. If you want to tell me in the comments which is your favorite, I'd like to know that. Here's one I made off camera, and all I did different was I put in some of this hemp cord and I put it underneath the seal. So yeah, those are the 3 tags I ended up with. Now I'm going to show you how I made this seals. I'm using this gold wax seal I got at Hobby Lobby. And I tried a few methods, and this is what I ended up with that was easy for me. Is I got parchment paper, and I'm putting down my 2 pools of wax. This is the wax you use in a glue gun. And I'm just, I'm waiting like, I think I sped this up a little bit, but I think I waited a good 45 seconds to a minute before I put down my stamps there. And the reason is I felt like I got a better impression when it was slightly cooled off. You know, not totally cool, but just a little cooled off. And then I pressed down, you know, pretty a little hard, not hard, but I pressed down firmly. Got a little ridge there going around the base of it. And then I waited, because if you lift it up too soon, then it's all gooey and doesn't really work so well. So I found that I would wait another 30 to 45 seconds before I lifted it up. And here you see my air conditioner vent just kicked in, so that helped a little bit more. So yeah, I think just the trick is to time it so that when you lift it off, it isn't all gooey still. And that's how I made my. So if you want to let me know how you make yours, if this is what you do, I'd be interested in knowing your process. Well, that wraps it up for today. I thank you so much for sticking with me, and thank you too for the support you've given me on my channel, at my Ko-Fi shop, and my Etsy shop. Thank you, thank you. It helps me to continue to do stuff that I love to do, which is creating all this stuff for our junk journals. So hoping that you got some inspiration from this, that you will try one of these methods, and we will see you real soon. You have a great and crafty day. Bye.